Listen up, fart heads. Put your ball earrings on and take a trip down reanimation lane. We saw Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives, so you know what that means.
Hey everybody, now it's time for What's up, sir? HGTGM. How did this get? Hey everybody, now it's time for What's up, sir? HGTGM. How did this get? Hey everybody, now it's time for
Hello, people of Earth! And hello, people of Berkeley! We are live here in Berkeley, California on Friday the 13th for a very special episode of the show. We have gone into the future and we have seen what Jason becomes when we watch Jason 10, Jason in Space. And now we go back to a simpler time, the year 1986, where Jason is just a reanimated corpse. If you've never seen a Friday the 13th movie, have no fear. It doesn't make a fucking lick of difference. This is not the podcast where we're gonna break down all the horror tropes. I think most of us have only seen about 2 Jason films. The one we did and the one we're doing. So, we will be fuzzy on the facts. All I know for sure is that the lead actor is a different actor than the one who played him in number 5, and that actor is a different actor than the one who played him in number 4. So, in the course of the 2 years that this movie from 84 to 86, 3 different actors played the lead character of the Jason movie, the same character. It's like the James Bond turnover, but like way quicker. So, to talk about this movie tonight, I have an amazing co-host. Please welcome Mr. Jason Mantzoukas!
What's up, jerks? How we doing, Berkeley? That's right, that's what I'm talking about.
What's up, Jason?
How we doing, everybody? This movie is about me. I live!
Jason Lives. Jason, how many Jason movies or how many Friday the 13th movies have you seen?
I'm gonna ask you a real question, because I was just thinking about this as we were watching the trailer.
Yeah.
Have we ever done a Friday the 13th on this podcast?
Yes. Jason,
We have?
Jason 10, the one.
Yes,
Right.
okay, yes. What is Jason? I remember
Yes.
it now. That's the only other one I've seen.
Yes, okay.
These are the only 2 Friday the... I realize I'm much more versed in the Halloween franchise, the Michael Myers franchise, than in the Jason Voorhees franchise.
I'm the same way, but with Phantasm.
Oh, really? The floating ball? I'm like that with Hellraiser. Oh, I could talk about Pinhead for hours.
My mom was really into Phantasm.
What?
Yeah.
What? How?
No.
What? How did your mom find Phantasm?
I don't know, but it scared me. She's like, "You want to watch Phantasm with me?" I was like, "No."
Paul, that's an opportunity to like cuddle up and smooch. That's like what you do when you want to pull the move where you yawn and put your arm around someone. Is like you rent a scary movie. You want to watch a scary movie? That always leads to fingering and hand jobs. Speaking of which, Berkeley, who wants to see a scary movie? This audience is not wearing pants.
Jason, I will not finger my mom to Phantasm. Ladies and gentlemen, I say that because of my next co-host right here. She is someone that I am married to. Please welcome June Diane Raphael. Welcome, June. Welcome.
Hi, Paul. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for asking. How are you?
I'm doing well.
June, how many Friday the 13th films have you seen?
I think I've seen one. I don't think I've seen the
This one.
that you're referring to on the 10th one.
Yes.
Was that Space?
It was Space.
Yeah.
You were not here. Rob
Okay,
Hubel was
so-
with us. Yes.
Okay, so I wasn't present. for
You were
that.
not present there. Are you counting this film as one of the Friday 13th?
No, I think I've seen one other. I think I saw the main one,
The first one.
the first one.
Well, here's the fact. I was under the belief that these movies started in the 1950s.
I heard you say that. That's wrong. And I can say that with confidence, not remembering a single thing about that movie.
All right, well, there's a gentleman out in the audience that wanted to correct me. Who had the
Paul,
correction?
I'm gonna just
I
caution
think
you.
that's what I think what you're confused about is I think Jason died in 1957
Got it. Okay.
in a body of water.
Yes.
And then in the first movie that is set in the early 80s, he is awakened in Camp Crystal Lake.
Which is where he...
That's
No?
not the first movie.
Oh, okay.
I have the whole...
This is already a debacle.
I already I think we might have done this
The only
exact
two I've
same
seen
thing.
are 6 and 10. I have
Definitely seen the first one.
almost
What-
certainly not.
What do you think
Wow.
happened? Like, what's the big twist? Because I do know the big twist
It's a
of the first one.
camp-based movie, right?
Yes.
So it's like Meatballs with a serial killer?
Yes.
The first one is a camp-based movie?
Yes, it's like Sleepaway Camp with no dick.
With no dick?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, Sleepaway Camp. I'm sorry. I thought you were just referring to the concept of Sleepaway
yeah.
Camp. Forgetting, of course. You know our minds get wiped at the end of every show. That's the only reason we can keep doing this is we've got one of those Men in Black machines that's just like, nope.
All right, so
I don't remember quite, but something happened with his mom.
you're really doing good.
Wasn't there
Well, no,
a-
they reference it in this movie,
Yeah,
but
and
I
wasn't
didn't
there an
remember
episode wasn't there one of the movies where his mom was the killer?
That
Yes.
that is the first
Right?
movie.
That is the first movie. Isn't that the twist?
That is a twist.
Yes.
That is the twist. Guys, we're only in it for the twist.
So I'll just walk you through the 4, 5, and 6 because they kind of work as a trilogy here. Because Jason,
Thank you, Paul, because otherwise I don't know what's going on.
basically, Jason, the first one's the mom. Jason is not a zombie really until this movie. This is the first one, which is kind of a crazy moment because he is brought back from the dead like Frankenstein. But here's what happens in the final chapter. Jason is brought to a morgue. He kills everybody there.
I'm sorry to go
Yeah.
back. When you say he's not a zombie, so the young boy dies in the...
And then his mom goes around killing people. But she's not wearing the mask.
Here's my question on that. Because her son dies due to negligence at camp. How does he become a full-grown man?
This is where I am only going to be guessing. I don't know.
Because my assumption would be this movie should star like a 13-year-old boy who's on a revenge murder, senseless killing spree, right? How does he age? How does Jason die at camp
We don't know.
and become a murderous 6'4" machine?
According to my notes that were compiled by Nate Kiley, it says in part 2, Jason is revealed to be alive and a fully grown man and returns to Camp Crystal Lake to
Oh,
guard
so
it
he
from the
didn't
thief.
die. His mother was wrong?
All right, well, let's go to this one guy who I feel like has all the
Paul,
answers.
I'm going to say right now, this is a mistake.
All right. Okay, why is Jason a full-grown man?
They never explain it.
Never explain it. Got it, right?
All right.
And
Wow.
I'm just amazed that he knew that question was coming to him, and he got up with such confidence.
And then I'll ask you this. So from 2 forward, it is Jason.
No, in 5, it is an imposter.
Okay. And then in 5, and then in 6, are we reviving Jason or the imposter?
Jason.
Okay, got it.
Can I ask the guy a question?
Yes.
Can I ask the guy a question? Are all the movies canon? Are they all telling the same progressive story, or are there outliers like Halloween Season of the Witch.
I was being honest. They do dovetail. Like they take place moments after the movie, right?
They do in 5. There's a bit that they sort of retcon in 6, where the main character murders somebody at the very end.
Like Tommy was supposed to be our lead character was supposed to be the new Jason in this film, but it tested so badly. They're like, no, Tommy will still remain the hero because
Okay, so-
Tommy was played by Corey Feldman in 4, right? And then in 5 he was played by somebody else, and then in 6 he's played by this guy.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. It was supposed to be Corey Feldman in 5 as well, but he was doing the Goonies, so they had to rewrite it.
Got it. So
Right.
there was going to be a little kid
Here's
because
my
Corey
question.
Feldman is small.
Hold on, Paul.
Yeah.
Go back.
Wow. Okay, cool, Paul. Shots fired at Corey Feldman.
At the time of Goonies, he is a child. I'm just
Super
saying.
cool.
He is not as intimidating as someone
All
as
right, see,
Jason.
I want to understand though. Okay, 2 questions. My first question is: we keep on saying he's like 13 or 12 years old. Like he should know how to swim. So how old was this kid that he couldn't swim at the age of? I mean, how
hang
old
on a
was he at the
second.
time of death?
Now, hang on a second.
Hold on.
As like a asthmatic child who had trouble swimming, you know, like, here's what I'll say. When I went to Boy Scout camp, like, swimming was a real, like, a no-go for me.
Okay, now I'm going to speak as a former counselor, and here's what I'm going to say. I cannot be expected to keep 12-year-olds out of the water.
Whoa, you're
that is
dead, Jim.
beyond.
They're gonna
It's not
come
about
after
out
you.
of the water. It's while I'm in the water, are you watching me or are you getting your shit serviced by Cody or whatever his name was?
Listen.
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 I wouldn't expect, unless I knew you had a special bracelet on, like a I'm not water safe bracelet. I would assume that a 12 or 13-year-old was water safe.
Let me
And
be
so-
clear. I was a kid who went to Boy Scout camp wearing a special bracelet. That is not a lie. It said severely allergic to eggs, comma. My bracelet had a comma, asthma.
Well, then let me just clarify one thing.
Still alive, San Francisco, still alive. They tried to take me out. Meanwhile, this guy's still hanging out.
Okay, wait.
Was he 12 or 13 when he died, or was he a child?
Well, he didn't die. He came back in 2. But
So was he just hiding for all those years?
Why did his mother think he was dead?
theoretically, I don't think they were planning on making the second movie. They
Okay.
needed a reason to bring him back. But
In the world of the first movie, how old do you think he was supposed to be?
So in the 50s, he was 13 or so. He
That's
wasn't wearing
too
a bracelet.
old.
He wasn't wearing a bracelet, but he was clearly a special child.
Okay. And was he allergic to eggs?
They definitely made that canon.
You know
He
what?
was allergic.
Being
Wow. Was
allergic
this
to
based
eggs
on you,
would
Jason?
make me want to murder, but I didn't.
Well, all right.
This movie
Okay,
was
wait,
based
then
on my
one
life.
more question. One more question.
I am the
Sorry.
Jason who inspired this Jason.
One more question.
We're
So-
still laying the groundwork for this episode.
We
We have
We
keep
not
in
have
yet-
not
mind,
started.
we have not started
We have
yet.
not started this.
Guess what? No second show. We can go as late as we want.
Okay, here's another question. So, okay. So, in the beginning of this movie, we're at a gravesite, and there's a headstone.
Well, this is what I want to get into.
Okay, so is this the grave
Of Jason.
Well, I know it's the grave of Jason, but is this the grave he was buried at as a child, even though I understand he never died at 13? Or did someone in the other movies bury the man-sized Jason? And if they did, who made that headstone
Well,
for him?
all right. Well, I can answer this.
Okay.
I can answer this.
Are we clear? Do we need a chair for this guy on stage?
Yeah.
We may have to bring him up. From what I understand, it was referenced that Jason, the killer Jason, the boy who has lived, kind of like Harry Potter but different, he was cremated. But then for this movie, they kind of forego that and his body is buried, which leads me to believe who paid for that funeral. We don't know. And this is a funeral of a straight-up serial killer, and they seem to have buried him in the outfit that he was killing people in.
Definitely.
So he was not in any sort of penitentiary garb, and the person who buried him said, well, just keep him in the jumpsuit. Like, I'm not going to pay to put a suit on him. By the way, that would have been so much better if he was in like a Sears suit walking around. I would have liked that.
Also, why does lightning striking
Well, this is the big
not just bring him back to life, but like bring him back to corporeal form? He is like he has been eaten away by the maggots and the everything in the earth, and the lightning hits, which I get like could bring him back to life in a zombie way. I like that, but it like replenishes his body back to full strength and health.
He goes from literally having maggots living in his face.
He is a hollowed out husk of a monster.
Yeah.
And then he is just back up, being able to put the mask back
he should
on.
really be fully decomposed at this point.
He is
Well,
in the
he is.
beginning. In the beginning, when they
is,
open,
yeah.
Horshack opens the fucking coffin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way,
Which is a better
So good.
cameo? Horshack in the beginning of this, or Drew Barrymore at the beginning of Scream?
no, I mean, it's young Tony Goldwyn in this movie. I mean,
That
I'm
was a
here.
thrill.
I am here for young Tony Goldwyn in this movie.
Here's what I'm going to say. This movie starts off very weirdly because you're thrown in with
It
absolutely
also
no
finishes weirdly, and the middle is pretty weird.
Yeah. All of the above. You are thrown in and you don't know what's going on. The actors have changed. They don't lay down any sort of exposition. All you know is that they're going to go kill Jason, and it seems that that plan even changes multiple times because it seems like Horshack is in on the plan, and he's like, wait, you want to dig him up? Well, yeah,
Horshack's
that's why you
carrying-
have the gasoline thing in the back. Right? Is that part of the...
Horshack is carrying 2 shovels on his back when he goes, all right, have you seen enough? Should we go? What do you mean? You're carrying shovels. What did you think was going to happen when you got here?
They are not paying attention to each other, and then...
Their communication is all wrong.
I mean, they escaped the mental institution, so maybe it makes sense. And then...
Wait,
they,
you think Horshack was in the mental
they
institution with
both
him?
were, yeah.
Yes, they
Oh, I
both
missed that
were.
connection. Aw.
His way of trying to kill Jason was bizarre. It was like, I need to see his body, and I need to send him to hell. Because only if you burn a body can you be sent to hell, I guess? That was the plan. I think that was the plan.
I thought he just needed to see it.
Okay. I'll buy that. They also bring gasoline, and so they're going to open up that casket. He sees it. He's like, that's not enough. Now we need to burn it. Unfortunately, it's during a thunderstorm, and he doesn't bring a knife because you stake a Jason like a vampire, and he's already dead.
He's already dead. It doesn't matter. Here's what I'll say. At the end of this 5, we see that Tommy is set up to be the Jason of the next movie.
Right.
And in this movie, Tommy essentially is the Jason. He is responsible for every death in this movie because he
Absolutely.
brings Jason back to life.
Absolutely.
Everything was
Like,
fine.
Tommy should die. He is the villain.
I also think that Sheriff Mike Garris is a little bit to blame. He is not really taking in any information. He's made his determination.
He
He's like,
really...
he's like, you're Jason. Wait, this guy is not bloody. He doesn't look disheveled. It's like, you've killed 17 people. I know you have no blood on you and you don't look, and I've seen you 17 times tonight, but I'm pretty positive.
His and his daughter Megan's relationship was fascinating. It was sexualized in a way that like only horror movies of this era had. Like when she picks up the phone in the police station and says, "Oh, he's in the other room draining his lizard."
I didn't
That's
like that.
her father.
There's also, I mean, this is also a time where like teenagers look like they're 45 years old. Like it's so confusing because she looked like I was just like, oh, that's Laura Linney. Like,
Not that there's anything
present
wrong
day.
with 45-year-olds and that they can look very young and very youthful even.
Okay,
But
Jason.
Even 46-year-olds.
But there is
absolutely.
For sure.
You're absolutely
Absolutely
right.
true.
Yes,
But there
there's
is
a freshness and innocence.
Yeah.
Yes, that
Still
every.
with plenty of life to live and to give.
Yes, time's not ticking at all.
Time is ticking, I have been told a lot.
I will
But
say,
it was just so disturbing because she looks his age. There's not.
They seem to be
They
contemporaries.
seem to be contemporaries, which was really throwing me.
They had more romantic chemistry, Megan and her father, than Megan and Tommy, period.
1,000%. When they kissed each other through Megan and Tommy, through those
Ugh.
jail
Ugh.
bars, I didn't care for that.
It was
didn't-
unsettling.
I didn't
It
like
was
it.
not sexual. It was
No.
not satisfying. It seemed to me to be a kiss. I felt like, are they trying to pass a key between their mouths?
That's what I thought too.
But-
That's how not sexual it was. It seemed
It seemed-
transactional.
For sure.
and Tommy's eyes open like, ooh, boy. Like,
Because, well, at first I thought it was transactional, like something's being passed. And then I thought, okay, an object's not being passed, but there's some sort of like Jason-esque energy that's going back and forth between them. Again, not sexual energy, but some sort of like weird, creepy, supernatural energy.
I just was wondering what she wrote down on that pad because it was a very elaborate plan to just
Couldn't
flash
see
him
it.
like, boom. And you're like, got it.
And that was, okay, so we all couldn't see that, right?
No, yeah. No.
I thought I rewound it twice. I was like, is this a bad cut? Am I watching the wrong version? Like, shouldn't I be able to see what she's
I was
written on the
worried
pad?
about the aspect ratio or whatever.
Yes, I thought the same
whatever
thing.
You call
I
it.
thought that I had enlarged it
Yes.
by accident and was losing
Yep.
part of the screen.
She must have written a small paragraph there. Boom, get it, got it. All right. Because the plan was, let's get into a fight. I'll throw my thing. You'll pull me close. We'll kiss. Then the cop will come and break it up, and then I'll take his gun, and then you take... Like, that's a very complex plan. That's like an Ocean's 11 heist that she quickly doled out to him. But also, I gotta say, I love the daughter. I thought she had the most
Megan?
life. Yes.
Yeah, she was great.
had a great life to her. I was like, more...
I will say this: I loved a lot of the counselor that generation. I loved
Sissy?
Sissy,
Love Sissy.
sweatpants, suspenders, and a shirt on top.
Okay,
A
Sissy's
shirt
outfit.
on top of suspenders that are holding up rolled down sweatpants. This is next
Sissy.
level.
Sissy's outfit we need to talk about. Oh my God.
What is this? Okay. Her friend is wearing an entire thrift shop worth of clothes.
Well, you also talked about not understanding what our teenagers...
Sissy's wearing suspenders under a crop top t-shirt. Why?
Everybody is wearing suspenders in this movie. You talked about the teenagers not being representative of their age. Do you remember that section in the movie where they just randomly cut to a couple making out in the cemetery? And he's like, I don't want to have sex tonight. I have a headache. And he's like being coy.
Yeah, what was that?
She's like wearing a Laura Ashley dress and like a tank top underneath like a sundress. I'm like, what's happening here?
I didn't
we
think-
could
I
talk
did
about
not
this
think
for a
that they
while.
were- I
We've
didn't-
already talked about this t-shirt under sundress thing needs to shut down.
Yeah.
It's coming back, Jason.
It should
back.
not come back. Just because we're all watching Friends on Netflix doesn't mean we should be putting full white t-shirts under slight spaghetti strapped sundress.
I don't disagree, but it is happening. So I thought that couple, this is what I think is successful about the movie.
Okay.
There are a lot of scenes from these characters on the fringe who get killed that were really fun and kind of funny and
Agreed.
interesting.
Yeah.
And like the whole paintball setup, the dynamic between those
Great.
two guys, where one of them says, every time we come out here, you act like a different person. I was like, oh, wow, this is such a specific, strange relationship we've been dropped into where this guy like puts on this persona to play paintball with his fellow coworkers, and I'm so interested. And I know they're gonna die within minutes, but in this terrible movie and franchise, like, there was this weird care taken, which again I thought was great for some of these other characters.
I really liked, because I wrote the same thing down, that there were, that it is, and I didn't know if, because Jason Space was not like this, were the other movies kind of vignette based like this? Like you would be dropped into people's world, follow them until their death, and then move on.
Well,
which
you'll never
I
think
enjoy.
about them again.
This,
Yeah.
You know, I like
this
that.
Is in the horror world. This movie has a lot of connections to Scream, as a matter of fact, because the director of this was actually offered to direct Scream first,
wow.
because him and Kevin Williamson got along, and he's like, "Oh, you did some funny stuff," because there is some funny stuff here. The movie opens up with a James Bond parody. Jason is now reanimated from the dead, and then he walks across the screen like James Bond. Here, I'll show it to you, and slices.
No, there is a bunch of visual jokes that are juxtapositions of images that are themselves very funny, even though they, like, there's one that I wrote down where somebody says, like, "What do you think, I'm an idiot or something?" And then it cuts to all the kid campers going, "Yes!"
Yeah.
You know, and there's a bunch of like, "Oh, does he think I'm a fart head?" And it's
Fart
all the
head.
campers go, "Yes!" in the next edit. And I was like, this is smart. Like, they're doing funny stuff in this.
And then they don't fully commit to it, because then sometimes it just goes back to straight up Jason movie. I think that's like the hard part of it, is that you constantly are like, "Oh, is it we're making fun of it?" But then they treat it very seriously. It was a hard tone to get.
Well, it's hard. I mean, Jason, I'm scared very easily.
You were very scared. We watched most of this movie in a car.
Yes, and I
And you're
know
like-
that the driver of that vehicle was concerned.
Yeah, because you go, "Oh God, what? No, oh."
Now,
I
all
think
that's true.
I think we should release bonus episodes that are just audio tracks of you listening to a movie, because I'm assuming you're wearing headphones.
Yes, I had
That's, I would
earbuds
like
in.
I would like there to be an audio track available on this, like, you know, on our feed.
Yeah.
That is just syncs up with you watching the movie, so that I could be watching the movie and then listening to your commentary track, where you're just also piping. "Oh God."
I mean, there were some. I'm a human. I get
You
startled.
are. That's good to know.
I get startled, and I'm easily startled. I don't know what happened to me. Well,
You
I
watched
do
a
know
movie
there were
called-
a couple of major events in my childhood. Well, I found out that when I was an infant, I had a lot of major scares happen.
Were
And
you the
nothing
kid that
traumatic,
they based
but
that little girl on in the campground? Who found the machete?
maybe I had a giant cabinet fall on top of me, just like major startling at a very early age. And
Can I ask what you did to piss the cabinet off?
I've been told that I crawled up like one shelf of the cabinet and the entire thing fell on me. So I think I was I think I felt scared at a very, very young age. I mean, I guess women are just scared of men hurting them and murdering them. But
You also
so maybe
will
that's
get
just
angry.
I
a
grew up scared.
baseline. But okay, so
You will get angry though, because I've seen movies. I've been in theaters with you where you're like, "No, no," like
my
as if you're
point is-
commanding the character back.
I remember,
Yes.
I will say, I was at Halloween Horror Nights with you at Universal.
The best.
And anytime any of the characters would come up to do scares, you would say, "No."
yes, no, sir,
No,
not today.
no, thank you.
No, thank you. I see you.
I'm not interested in your scares.
Not right now. Thank you kindly. Move right along. But so I am very easily startled, and yeah, I had some scares in this movie, but I was surprised I really wasn't. The interesting thing about this movie is it's not that scary. There's nothing. They don't really go for the scares.
This movie seemed to me also to have like it's not a lot of jump scares. It's a little, and it's also not like super bloody and gory.
No,
like they
not
would
at all.
cut away from
I was happy about
where
that.
you know, like I felt like he would squeeze someone's head, but like it would cut away to a shot of Jason's face, and you just heard the squish, and some blood would splatter on him.
Yeah.
You wouldn't really see like someone's head being caved in, or like this seems to me to be an effort to take an R-rated franchise and turn it into a PG-13 type of movie.
Speaking of squish, did you hear the condom come off
What?
What are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
when they have sex in the RV?
How much are you
Oh.
listening to this movie? Did you hear the condom come
No,
off?
I
While they
didn't.
were having sex, the condom came off at one point?
No, after they had sex, I heard like,
Wait, this was when they were like, she was like dance fucking?
oh, yes.
I wrote down,
I
can we
did love
please
that.
play this sex scene? They are fucking in rhythm.
Loved it.
His tank top is rolled up.
You're seeing his nipples.
You're seeing his nipples, but they're not, it's not like his shirt is just tussled. It has been systematically rolled up. I couldn't make heads or tails of this.
So we open up on the Walter White van, and this happens.
I mean, look at this. Look at him. You're the best. The best.
And his shirt is rolled up.
Look at this. What is going on here? Like, what is this? And he's moving so spasmatic. He's like,
They're
this,
having.
I feel like this person has never had sex.
I also feel like when I watched it, I was like, are they just like kind of like dry humping? I didn't know what was
Wait,
really
what?
happening. It
He's
felt like
not
dry
wearing pants.
I guess I wasn't looking that closely at first because
You were just listening super closely.
You were just like, hang on, is there a condom on?
I watch all my
I
films
can hear
like
hear
Gene
that there's a condom on.
I am like Gene Hackman in the conversation, just listening.
You know what? Stop subtly plugging
It's
on
not
spooled.
on the list, but should it be?
Stop
Not on the
plugging
list,
on
but should it
spooled.
be? Maybe. All right, so here's the sex scene continued.
You gotta keep that to the end of the song.
How much longer?
It's only 10 more minutes.
By the way, I did have a problem with that. 10 more minutes? What is this, Michael Jackson's Thriller? I mean,
There's no way this song is 10 minutes
No.
long. No way.
Unless she's getting the raw demos from the studio.
There's no way. This is basically the Neutron dance, and it is no way longer than 10 minutes. But he has a great take right now. She says 10 minutes. That look is good.
So Jason finds them and cuts the power in their RV. And then he takes off a condom. And then I was looking through the notes.
Wait a minute. No. Play the part where you hear the condom come
All
out.
right.
That's what I need.
All right. Okay, listen closely.
Wait a second, Court, you did it already.
Oh, come on, wasn't that the end of the song?
I thought I heard it.
You thought you heard it?
Paul, I am disturbed.
Paul, here's what I will say.
am
With absolute
disturbed.
certainty.
Hold on, shh.
Court, you did it already.
How does it come off? His arms don't move.
Well, anyway, Nate.
You think the condom just jumps off of his dick? Here's my update. These are camp counselors in the 80s. They're not using condoms.
No way.
Wow.
These two people both have chlamydia.
This is where you are wrong because what Nate Kiley has found out was the director did add in a condom sound effect.
What?
And he wrote that he wanted to make sure that he was showing
Safe
safe sex. Tom McLaughlin was like, I added that in because I wanted to make sure that I was promoting safe sex.
Well, then why didn't he add a shot of like a condom wrapper that's been ripped open and is being used?
Because it's for
Like, what is the sound of a condom? That's the T-shirt.
What is the sound?
What is
of a
the sound of a condom? That's a forerunner for a T-shirt. Front runner.
So that's that.
That was later. Because how many people are here with the person that they're gonna fuck later? Later, I just want you to say to your partner, do the thing where you make the condom make the sound.
But
What is the end sound?
suction. But But
I just got a text from Nate Kiley who said the director added the sound of an IUD being inside there.
I will say this too. No one in this movie knows really what sex sounds like because there's another moment in the film where someone's being decapitated outside of the cabin. She's like, sex. Like, those are not similar.
I mean, I feel like that's a classic like horror trope, though, like mistaking women's pain for pleasure. I mean,
But it wasn't like, oh, it was like, whoosh, clunk, 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 clunk. It wasn't like, oh, it was because he was like, what are you doing, taking a shit in there? After he had that sex scene with her, she's like, ah! He's like, taking a shit.
I love that. I love that they're like, we got to get out of here. And he immediately is like, it's fun to drive this thing. What, are you taking a shit?
I'm just saying that people don't, like, and I know what you're saying, dude, and I agree with you. Like, yes, but these are sounds that are not near. It was screaming because she was being beaten by a monster, and the other person got their head bashed in.
I did find it interesting that Jason decapitated Sissy and then hauled her body away because that seemed very un-Jason-like. And I don't know if that was just a move so young Nancy could get freaked out, but Jason's whole persona is that he's completely blank. Like, he doesn't.
Yeah, what's his motivation? I'm being serious. I was like, what is he like? If you don't kill him, does he just keep on going? Who is he looking for?
Tommy?
But if he kills Tommy, I think he would just keep on going.
I think, no, I do think you're right. I think he is.
And why would he kill Tommy?
But what I agree with you is, like, why he doesn't seem at all concerned. Like, why is he, like, if he kills someone, my impression is he would just, like a senseless killing machine, keep moving forward. Why does he know to move the bodies, to hide the things?
Not only does he carry Sissy's body away, but he takes her head and plants it in one of the police cars.
Yes.
They find Sissy's head
very
later
Agatha
on.
Christie. I mean, that's what I like about it.
Ooh, when Poirot showed up in this movie, you know what the Jason movies could use? A little Miss Marple.
Get me Kenneth Branagh.
I would love it if Kenneth Branagh like mashed it up. The next Agatha Christie adaptation had Jason Voorhees in it, and Poirot shows up.
But also, what was happening in that room when they walk into that one room and the blood is everywhere and you just see like part of a skull on the floor? Like, did he bring someone back in there and just like have a paint party with their blood?
Well, he killed the woman. What's her name? Sissy's friend.
Right.
Sissy and Megan's friend. What's her name?
The one who had all the clothes on.
Yeah, the one who's wearing all of the clothes.
It could be
the entirety
Lisbeth?
of her blood is spread across that one cabin. She's the only person killed inside that room.
And that was her skull on the ground.
I mean,
I don't think it was anybody else's.
Yeah, that's her. I felt this when we met her. She put up a good fight.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
There are a lot of other people killed in this movie who seem to just like immediately accept their fate.
Here's the other thing. She felt to me like the person who, by the logic of this movie, the person most deserving to live. Right? She is never, she never has sex. She never transgresses in any meaningful way. She's only looking out for the little kids. She seems to me to be the quintessential final girl.
Right.
But instead it's Megan who is the final girl, whose actions cause the deaths of Megan and Tommy are posited as the heroes of this movie. They are the villains.
But my issue is
Megan is horny for murder.
And
she is so excited by she's so excited by all of this. I'm going to come pick you up. It's going to be so crazy.
She's not motivated by like the 40 children who are sleeping in this camp.
And in her care.
And under
her
her
counselor
supervision.
At that camp.
Listen, I know what it is to be a counselor. I
I'm
understand
just
it's
saying,
a huge
she
responsibility.
is shirking her duties. She's driving around in town chasing boys. And guess what? There's a murderer in the camp.
Wait, but my favorite moment of the movie is towards the end when Tommy's in the water. He's kind of blowing her off as he's tying a lot of steel chains around a rock. She's like, my dad. He's like, hold on, I got it. I got to do this rock thing. And he goes, go get the kids. And then you hear the kids scream. She runs, does what is the actionable thing to run to save the kids. He's, no, don't. They're done. Come back. Like, he's actively telling her, don't save the children.
These people...
It's too late for them.
These people put a boulder in a boat. How? How do they get that boulder into the boat?
I mean, it was
And that boat is like a very small
it's a dinghy.
It's a dinghy.
dinghy. Yeah.
I mean, the plan for the end is really stupid because Jason is coming at Tommy, and Tommy is like, it's like the slowest lasso. He's like, okay, I got it. Like, that would mean that Jason not only is just a mindless killing machine, but like literally he can't put anything together. Like, he doesn't see anything. He sees colors and shapes. That's it.
And now I don't know how I would react if Jason walked up to me. Jason
You don't?
in the movie.
You don't have any clue how you would react.
Okay, actually, I think I would react in a way that would
In what
spare
circumstance?
me.
Like in the... In the middle of the day
Yes.
at a Chipotle.
Yes.
Well, this is my point, though. I think I would do the one thing that Jason cannot do, and that's run. He can only, I mean, I don't know about the other movies, but it seems he maxes out at a
steady gait. Not even a gait, just like a steady
No,
walk.
he has like a consistent stride.
It's a stride, and it's
if you-
lumbering, and it's purposeful.
If you look at his pedometer at the end of the day, he's getting 12,000 steps.
Oh, he's getting his steps
He's
in.
getting
He is
so
getting
many steps.
His steps in. He's counting his points, and he's getting his steps in.
Oh, yeah.
But he never picks up that pace.
Because he knows you're eventually going to fall down.
It's just so crazy. I mean, I guess this is just
Run,
horror
run, run
films
till you
in
fall.
general, but it's just like, just run. It's the one thing he cannot do.
Well, I mean, look, would you also say that this movie is more of an Amex movie or more of a Visa movie?
Amex.
I mean, well,
Amex
because I was
all the
like,
way, baby.
don't leave home without it, but she did bring it, and it didn't help her. So I think it's more of a subtle ad for Visa. Maybe he would have taken Visa or Diners Club. They really linger
Diners
on a
Club-
photocopy of an Amex card. This movie couldn't even afford to get a prop Amex card. It was like, just photocopy it. No one will know.
Here's
Just
my question.
Just cut out 2 numbers. It'll be
Is
fine.
Diners Club International still happening?
Oh, how is there not a Discovery card in this movie?
But do people still have Discovery cards and Diners Club
I
cards?
can't imagine they do. Well, yes?
I think
Yes.
they do.
Everybody in this audience bought their
Somebody
tickets
here
on
at
Diners
the
Club.
Diners Club
There's
card?
nobody in this audience who has a Diners Club card.
They accept
What?
it at her store. They accept Diners
They
Club at her
accept Diners Club at your store? What store
She
is
sells
it?
restaurants.
Bookstore? A bookstore. Okay, so an obsolete thing accepts an obsolete form of payment? Got it. I'd like to use a Diners Club card to buy this book. And I'll close the gate when I'm done because this industry is over. I'm just kidding. I love books.
And I love Diners Club. There was also one other thing I wanted to bring up before we get into the audience that I thought was odd. That the sheriff's deputy calls Megan, the sheriff's daughter, babe.
Yeah. I thought they were dating. In that moment when he said that,
Right.
I thought, oh, are they supposed to have been a couple? Is that what? Because he
Oh,
calls
are they
her.
contemporaries too?
I don't
I
know.
think so.
Everybody seemed to be the same age, 50. No, when he said that, I genuinely thought, oh, maybe they are supposed to have been established and I just missed it as a either couple or a potential couple. And so he sees Tommy as a threat. I don't know. But
you
I
think-
thought that was confusing.
Do you guys think that Deputy Rick Cologne was dating Megan?
I'm sorry, Deputy Rick Cologne?
Yep.
Is his name?
Yep.
Wow. Changing my name tomorrow.
I'm Deputy Rick Cologne.
All I want
The
to know.
best a man can get.
Here's what I want to know is, can I still get a subscription to Men at Play magazine? Which is what Sissy is reading at one point in her bunk at camp. Men at Play magazine. What is that?
I wish they had done some close-ups.
I wish there was
that.
like
I just
I wish
remember-
it had been like promo material for the movie.
What
was
is that?
I will tell
full-
you, the only time I ever saw Playgirl, I was very young in my life.
Here we go. Was it your mom's Playgirl?
It was not my mom's Playgirl. Like I was like, we're looking for nudie magazines, any which way you can get it. Like, well, what's in this one? And it was a man sailing on. I remember this image.
Wait,
so
where did you
clearly.
get it?
It was just like on the bus, and everyone was like, "Look at this." I was like, "Great."
What do you mean it was just on the bus?
Well, according to
the bus doesn't come with nudie magazines.
the kid on the bus said his dad had and now as I say it out
His
loud,
dad
it sounds
had
crazy.
play. A kid on the bus brought a nudie magazine, and it was Playgirl. His dad's nudie magazine was a Playgirl?
This is how I remember the story being told to me. That his dad had a safe room full of nudie magazines, and he could only take one at a time, and he would bring different nudie magazines onto the bus.
Wait, so his dad was doling them out?
No, that he could
Was
only
it like
steal
a
one at a time.
he
Was
would
it a
only steal
library? Did he have to like punch it out? You can keep this one for 2 weeks.
My middle school brain just assumed that he could only heist one before it would go
Because
unnoticed.
his dad was doing daily inventory.
Yes.
Because his dad's going to the safe room full of porno magazines.
I'm so
Honestly,
upset.
what was, now in adulthood, what was that kid's life?
I have no idea. All I know is that I traded for a Penthouse air freshener.
What?
Yeah.
What does that even smell like?
What do you mean?
For real. What does that smell like?
What do you mean?
Like-
Imagine, if you will, an erotic air freshener.
I can't.
By the
What does it smell
By
like?
the way, who's putting that up in their car?
What do you
Oh.
mean you traded for it?
Like,
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Yeah. What did you have to offer?
What did you do for that, babe?
I feel like it was some sort of Star Wars figure
Oof.
for.
For a Penthouse air freshener?
Yeah, like it may have been like 3 Star Wars figures for a Penthouse.
I just
air freshener.
imagine it's like kind of a woman in silhouette.
Oh, I remember exactly.
And
No,
it just
no
is like the
silhouette.
scent is beeve.
It was cut to her body, like so. It was like a woman, like on her knees, out, but it was like in the shape of her body. And when I got it, there was no smell.
so
that's
it
right.
was a used air
Oh yeah, it
freshener?
wasn't a brand new
Because
one.
the guy and his dad had done all the
Okay.
smelling. It's like,
Got it.
Dad, can I take this air freshener for a day?
The only thing that I remember in this Playgirl was a guy on a yacht, and he was putting up a sail like this, and he just had a raging hard-on, and it was very sporty. And when I saw that,
It was very sporty.
yeah, 'cause it was sort of like
You don't just get to say it was very sporty and let it kind of go away. It was very sport. Is that like, has that stuck with you?
Do you
That
mean it was like a
image-
sporty
A sporty
erection?
boner?
Like what?
What does that mean?
What was surprising to me, I think why it stuck with me until this day, and I haven't thought about it in years, is that it was an activity that was non-sexual. That I was like, huh. It's like Orlando Bloom, like when he was paddleboarding with his dick out. You're like, oh, that's a thing you can do? Okay. Like, it just seemed like,
Sporty.
yeah, it just seemed like,
It just
oh yeah.
seems sporty.
I'm like,
when I'm a
sailing
grown up, I might sail nude
with a full
hard
erection.
on.
Yeah, I might just be like, got to put up this sail, I got
Isn't
a
that
hard-on.
interesting that that's an integral part of your sexual identity? Is understanding that one might get a boner while yachting?
But it wasn't just like getting a boner. It was like, I'm going to
Fuck this boat?
I'm gonna like launch this sail with a full-on erection. Like it wasn't like,
Oh, I can win the America's Cup with this fucking mast. Set the mainsail.
All I'm
Sloop
saying-
John B.
All I'm saying is I identify with hearing the title of that magazine.
Wow.
I love that a kid brought a Playgirl as a nudie mag, and everybody was like, we're all getting this is part of it. Sporty boners, I'm in.
It was like for as long as that kid was on the bus, there was always some sort of like
Something to look at.
yeah, something there.
And we were relegated to whatever we could find in the swamp or the woods.
We had the safe room full of porno.
That's very lucky.
Yeah. Well, let's go to the audience.
Oh.
And
Please.
all right, sir, your sound of a condom being taken off in your question.
John?
Paul, I'm going to ask you to stop going to
Yeah.
men for this.
I'm trying to get some more.
I'm going to need some ladies to raise
I'm
their
looking-
hands, please.
I'm looking for some lady hands. All right, here we go.
I'm looking for some lady hands? That's a t-shirt. I'm looking for some lady hands and then just two hands. One, and you have to figure out which is the ladies. That's a t-shirt. Guys, someone's writing these down, right?
All right, sir, your question.
How many is too many pictures to hang in your RV by one nail?
It's a good question. A lot of things hung in the RV.
I didn't notice that.
No, I'm glad you brought that up though, because the scene where what's his face is driving the RV. I mean, he's trying to kill that woman. He's trying to murder her. There's no way. If she had not been killed by Jason, she would have died in the back of the RV.
100%.
I mean,
She wouldn't have survived.
the first thing to fly out of that RV in the most expensive stunt in the film was a TV, like a full-sized TV.
Really?
Yeah, it was just
I
like
missed that.
Yeah, it just flew on the road. Maybe you were watching it, not Letterboxd like I was watching it, where they have the condom sounds in multiple scenes.
I was watching it on an old Zune.
All right, ma'am, your condom sound, your name, your question.
I guess there is no sound because it's not that hard to put on.
Okay. But take off.
All right, Paul, just stop.
Oh boy.
That's also not my job.
All right, not her job. All right.
Not my job.
Fair enough.
I will say, ladies, you have to take charge of your safe sex, I think.
Fair, that's
Right?
absolutely true. So
No?
my name-
Is it not anybody's job? Whose job is it?
I think-
My job?
I think it's the man's job to take off his own condom and deal with it.
I'm
Yeah.
just saying, ladies, you can take off my condom if you want.
Jason, I don't
You can
want-
also leave it on for as long as you need.
I'm still wearing one from 3
Yeah.
years ago.
You should definitely take that off.
Because some lady didn't take it off. It smells terrible.
All right, ma'am, your question.
So we're a bunch of former day camp counselors and like summer camp counselors.
I see you.
Thank you.
I see you.
Where did those kids come from? Like, because that lady shoves them out of the bus and it's like, they're yours now.
Yeah,
Well,
I had
that's
a-
what was weird. It also seemed like they were just there for the weekend.
Right. Well, they're kept on saying we can't run this summer camp because 2 people aren't here, but yet they were more than the 2. They didn't seem that understaffed.
I think they were understaffed.
They
I mean, that's
seemed-
a lot of kids.
Well,
the
here's-
ratio.
Here's what we only saw. We saw, let's see, 3 female counselors, but only 1 male counselor, right? So there's got to be other.
Well, there was the head counselor who was killed,
Yeah.
and
'Cause-
then that's it.
So, how many people are at this camp, and how many? What is this? Is there a nurse? Is there an administrative staff? Like, I've got like 4 counselors max, and a bunch
I
of
think
campers.
Everyone's wearing a lot of hats.
For me, I wouldn't send my kids there.
Okay.
I don't have kids, but I wouldn't send them there.
But none of them died, so they did a great job.
Yeah.
Ma'am, your name, your question. Here we go.
Becky, did anybody else notice the abrupt, kind of scary change of tone from the little girl who's scared the whole time, and then when the counselor says, let's go back and whatever, she's like, okay. Like she spends like 3 scenes being like, and then in a second she's like, okay.
What's weird about the counselor who's wearing all the clothes is, and I did really like her and appreciate her, but she is holding, that little girl brings a bloody machete to her, and she has no reaction to it.
And
that little girl doesn't lead with the bloody machete either. She's like, hey, there's a strange man outside my window. Oh, yeah, and then they also have this bloody machete.
They've set her up as like a girl who cries wolf. She's scared of monsters. She's scared. She had a bad dream. She's blah, blah, blah. But then she walks in. The minute you see a bloody machete, you can't be like, they're just messing around, you know?
And if, by the way, this is how they mess around, like, that's troubling.
Yes. Also, like, nobody seems to be nervous when their friends disappear. You know, because that woman is like, oh my God, it's so late. I can't believe they're still not here. And I don't know, maybe as a counselor, you're like, it's totally normal to, once the campers are asleep, disappear for hours into the woods.
Listen, thank you for accrediting me.
I don't know if that's accreditation. I don't know I don't know. I don't know that you can get college credit right now.
As a counselor, well, I was a counselor before cell phones, so no, it is related because
a pre-cell phone counselor.
I was a pre-cell phone counselor, so you didn't have access to people. I mean, I yearn for those days again.
We all yearn for pre-cell phone days.
Yes, but I remember, you couldn't keep track of everybody, so I don't know. I mean,
that was your stated job. Your job was to keep track of everyone.
Of course, you'd keep track of the kids.
Of course,
the counselors.
It was harder when they didn't have GPS machines in their pockets, but.
I mean, those head counselors had been gone for days. They just
are
never showed up.
Completely absent.
Yeah.
All right, I have a question up here. Ma'am, your name, your question. What do you got?
Before we get to that, Paul, one question, very quickly. Who is the woman that the guy is having sex with in the trailer? Is she a counselor?
Yes, she's a
Wait,
counselor.
say it again, Jason.
Who is the woman that the guy is having sex with in the trailer?
Counselor.
Is she a counselor as well, or is she just a trailer townie?
I mean, she's both, I think. I think all of these counselors are also townies.
You think they're locals who are counselors and
Megan's
townies?
a counselor and she's a townie.
That's true, I guess.
I think Sissy's a townie. I think
Were you a
all
counselor
townies.
in your town?
No. I was a day camp counselor in my town, but I was not an overnight counselor in my own town.
Were you ever an overnight counselor?
Yes.
Wow. Obviously, we had opinions about this movie, but there are people out there with a different opinion. It is now time for second opinions. All right.
Yesterday, Michael Myers, Freddy, Child's Play, Jason Voorhees hunting Crystal Lake. Oh, all the thrills have gone away. Secondly, opinions twice the stars they ought to be. How could this have ever frightened me? Oh, give me some anxiety. Why they had to rate it 5 stars, I couldn't say. Seems this film was shot, am I wrong, in just a day? Yesterday.
Amazing. Give it up for their names. Malia and who?
Danny.
Give it up for Malia and Danny.
Wow.
Well done.
Those were amazing second opinion songs.
I could not take my eyes off of those two.
Their harmonies were beautiful.
Beautiful.
Amazing. These are 5-star reviews culled from Amazon.com. There are 381 reviews of this film. 68% are 5-star. And we will get right into it. This one's written by Andrew Lynch. I will say that when we announced this film, people were upset. This is like one of their favorite Jason films. I think because of all the things we talked about, the kind of the comparisons to Scream, the light, the fun of all of it. But these people take it pretty seriously. Okay. Andrew Lynch writes, not a lot of people dig it because Jason looks like a zombie, whereas number 5 was kind of disappointing with the fake killer or imposter Jason. But here, you get a good story, lots of gore, and kills worthy of being called Friday the 13th. I remember I used to watch these with my mom as a kid. My favorite thing to this day is still part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. I grew up in New York all my life, so my mom would say, be good, or Jason will take you to Camp Crystal Lake himself. Good times.
This is a lot like your parenting.
I know. The drunk caretaker is the best. He reminds me of my landlord. If you're a collector or a fan or a first-timer, you can't go wrong. 5 out of 5 stars. It's Jason. What's not to love? This one is written by Call Me Dupe. The movie's titled Jason Lives. This is clearly a problem because Jason has died and he's risen from the grave. So now he's definitely not living. He's a walking corpse who somehow experienced no muscle deterioration from his years in a coffin. The end.
5 stars?
Yep.
Despite it all.
Wow.
This one is written by SR. At first, I didn't like this movie, but my child had never seen it. Child. So I ordered it, and guess what? Now, I really like it. 5 stars.
What? Is the transaction simply that the child needs to see it for him to like it?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
There's probably a lot of movies the child hasn't seen.
I feel like this kid was like, I like meatballs, Dad, which is a bizarre thing.
And the
for a
dad
kid.
was like, here's Faces of Death.
Yeah. Like, oh, here's also a movie with kids at summer camp.
Wow.
This one is the one that I really wanted to read. This is by V.K. Managlavarius. And he writes, as I said in my part 5 review, people, in all caps, must stop giving false information. Why are you giving false information by saying wrongly that Tommy went to Jason's grave at the beginning, like part 5 never existed? Are you well, my friend? Do you need a doctor? Yes. Tommy, with a friend, went to Jason's grave and resurrected him by accident, but this is not meant that part 5 was ignored, as you wrongly said, because my friend put in the DVD of part 6 again in the DVD player, and we watched the beginning when Tommy and this is all in caps, and his friend were talking in the car before they reached Jason's grave, saying that they escaped from the mental institute where Tommy was in part 5 in order to go and cremate Jason's body so that Tommy's Jason nightmares would be over. Okay? All those nightmares he had from part 5. And Tommy's friends said they would be crazy to escape, and if they would, they'd be caught, then they'd be in trouble. And you, my friend, dare say that part 5 never happened? From now on, be careful of what you say. And all of you who wrongly try to bury a great sequel like part 5, because there are true Jason fans out there, like me, who know the truth and don't take your bullshit easily. You got it, my friend? Nuss said, 5 stars.
I love that this 5-star review has multiple threats in it.
this conversation with?
Who is this? This basically
with-
is about fake news.
I mean, it is someone called Mr. Pumpkin Man.
Mr. Pumpkin Man?
Yeah. The tagline, this tagline I think is actually pretty clever. If you think it's hard to keep a good man down, try keeping a bad one. I guess it should be down.
If you think it's hard keeping a good man down, try keeping a bad one.
If you think
Down.
it's hard to
Down.
keep a good man down, ... try keeping down a bad one.
That's actually
Wait.
not a good line.
It's concise. If it makes you think.
If you think it's hard keeping a good man down,
This is the one.
Try keeping
try keeping a bad man hard.
On a yacht.
sporty.
Sporty. Try keeping a sporty boner hard on a yacht.
This one.
On a catamaran.
This one I think is tricky because in the grand scheme of the Nightmare on Elm Street franchises, The Nightmare Returns. Well, that would mean that would be a Freddy movie.
Sure.
Seems like that was a really rough one. This movie's budget was $3 million. Its opening weekend was $6 million. It was the first Jason film not to gross $20 million. It came in number 46 out of all the movies made in 1986. The top three movies are Top Gun, Crocodile Dundee, and Platoon. This movie was beaten by Cobra, Howard the Duck, Maximum Overdrive.
Wow.
Oh, sorry. This movie was beaten by Cobra. This movie beat Howard the Duck, Maximum Overdrive, Shanghai Surprise, Rad, and Solar Babies.
Wow. Wait, sorry, what year is this?
1986.
Thank you.
The director has Jason's cemetery grave in his front yard with a piece of the leg coming out of it. And a city employee refused to enter his yard to read the meter because he thought a real body was buried there. Anyone want to take a guess on how many kills were made in this movie? Well, them. 18, you're right. 18 kills.
Here's
18
the
kills.
thing. Why do so many people know? That means all of you who said it were counting, and that's weird. Why are you counting? Like 1, 2, 3. No, you missed the woman in the puddle of mud. Oh, right. Puddle of mud woman.
Jason, June, any final thoughts before we ask if you're going to recommend it? Anything that we didn't mention? That
Yeah, there were a couple of things. Tony Goldwyn really blew my mind. Like, I love, because there's all these, it seems to me that, like Johnny Depp in the original Nightmare on Elm Street, I love that horror movies of the 80s are the proving ground for, like, the young talent going forward. That always, I
young
enjoy
talent that looks 50.
Yes.
Well, I think that speech that one character gives about the American Indians is such a crazy...
I rewound that. I had to watch it twice. I couldn't make heads or tails of what he was saying.
I kind of was impressed with the commitment of it. I'll just play a section of it here.
Listen, you obviously don't know anything about Indians, okay? Probably none of you do.
Paul, will you pause for a second? So are we to believe that underneath this is a gray tank top? Because later, when he's boning down in the trailer, he's just wearing a gray tank top.
Well, that's your safe sex tank top.
Yes, the condom tank top? Okay, got it.
Let's just say you have a chief, right? And he dumps his squaw or his wife or whatever, and he decides, hey, I'm going to pick up with another one, I'm going to take off with her. So he takes off, leaving his son with the mother, and all of a sudden, a week or two later, the son wants to catch up with his dad, right? He wants to learn how to shoot a bow, stuff, kill buffalo, whatever these guys do. So what happens is he comes along, sees the rock, says, Dad, he went that way, obviously. And so what happens is he comes up, knocks them all down before the mother catches up, because he don't want to see any of her anymore. So, pretty much that's the basic story. Tells you where they go.
If this is as exciting as it gets, we're in big trouble, dude.
I mean, imagine if the whole movie was those two kids. They are crushing.
I mean, basically it would be Salute Your Shorts with Jason, which I would be down with.
I loved that that Jason broke the dad in half. When Jason killed the sheriff dad, he like folded him like he was like putting a t-shirt away.
June, anything else?
No, I mean we've covered it. It's hard. I will recommend watching this movie. The movie to me, I did get lost in it. So many of the movies we watch are so painful to consume. And this, I did enjoy just the viewing of it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird. It's like I had no expectations for it. Once you know you're on number 6, like there's no expectation that it will be anything but terrible. But it does make some moves that are interesting and surprising. I guess I like this movie.
I enjoyed it. I also would recommend it. I enjoyed watching it. Yeah.
I would too. I think it has a lot of fun stuff, and I feel like if the studio committed to letting it be a little bit more of what it wanted to be, I think it could have even been better, because there are a lot of things, but you feel like they also then paid off on the things that they went back and forth.
It also doesn't get mired in a lot of unnecessary plotting.
Yes.
Like it really is kind of vignettes. Like it really is. You're always being introduced to new people. You get a taste of them. They get murdered. Moving on. And that made it kind of fun to watch because you're never like, oh, these people again, because it's always killing and recycling.
It's the Altman version of these Jason movies. It's like you just...
Unspooled. This is not the Nashville version. This is not Nashville for horror movies.
It took the words right out of my mouth. You know, I think Spike Lee said it best when he was on our show.
Boo.
I did love the fact that he took 3 heads off with one machete chop.
Loved.
And why was that paintballer so mad at that woman and carrying a machete to a paintball match?
He was like a misogynist in the woods at a paintball company retreat, like chopping stuff with, like, why was he allowed to bring a machete?
Because Jason needed one. That was the only justification. It was like, I guess we got to get him a machete anyway. He can't go to Home Depot.
At the end of the movie, Tommy successfully gets a chain around Jason's neck, dumps the boulder in the river. Jason is then like trapped at the bottom of the river, right?
Yes.
That's the idea. That's how they manage to save the day, everything. Then it cuts to daytime, everything's good. And they have chosen to leave Jason at the bottom of the river. But we have to assume police have now come. Police have talked to Megan, they've talked to Tommy, they've talked to the campers, and they're like, he's right there. I weighed him down with a boulder.
Yeah.
And the police were like, well, we're gonna have to get him out of there. And like, no. Leave him in the river. Leave him in the lake.
I have 2 questions about this. One, Tommy decides, based, I guess, on those books that he read, that he needs to put Jason back in the traumatic incident to kill him for good, which is fucked up, just on an emotional level.
Because he was never killed there, but...
Oh, I guess you're right, yeah.
And also because you can't kill him because he is the living dead.
Well, yeah, but
he's like just awake underwater.
But here's the thing that I'm most confused about. And I can't believe we didn't bring this up. They take an outboard boat motor to Jason, and it seems to chop him up. You would think it would cut off his head, cut off his chest, do something. He seems to be fine.
Totally intact.
Like Wolverine fine.
He's got a healing factor.
So what was happening? What happened?
I don't know.
I don't know, because there was blood in the water.
By the way, they shot some of that in the director's pool and fucked up his pool filter.
And chunks. It was blood and chunks, and you got a sense that real damage was being done to him by the motor.
But he was totally fine.
But like this guy, does he come back in 7?
Yeah, of course.
And he's fine, right?
Of course.
He was fine at the end of the movie. He's there with the boulder, eye opens, like, all right, let's do it again.
Now, why can't Jason, he's awake, right, underwater, pull himself like this, right, further down,
right,
loosening the chain off. That's all he has to do. That's it. Loosen the tension by dragging your own self down, loosen, and you're out.
I mean, by the way,
That's a
the way
really
that
good
they
point.
show his strength in this movie, you could say he would just break that chain with his bare hands.
He also survived the RV's complete. He stabs Cody or whatever that kid's name in the head. The what?
Court.
Okay, Court. They should have named him Cody. Stabs Cody in the head. The whole thing flip-flops upside down, and Jason's like, I'm okay. So you think just putting him on a rock at the bottom is gonna hold him? No way.
He could probably just drag that rock right out.
He could have just yes. Also, here's Jason. Pull. Now, feet on the bottom of the lake. Walk, drag. Walk, drag. Walk, drag. I'm out. Murder. That's it. It's not a satisfying method of defeating him.
I think they realize that they can't really kill him too severely because he's got to come back.
I guess so.
Well, there we did. We've really broken it down. And this is your premiere horror podcast. How did this get made? We know all the ins and outs. We've given you the most thorough explanation of Jason and condom removal sounds. A big shout out to Avril Halley, who is here tonight, our amazing producer. She's here. Give it up for her. Also, our engineer, Devin, killing it over there. Beth Thomas, our stage manager. She's amazing. Thank you, everybody here in Berkeley.
Yeah! You did it, Berkeley!
Thank you for coming. We appreciate it. All right, that brings us to the end of our show. Thank you, everyone, for coming out to that really fun show at Berkeley. I know it was hot. If you were in that crowd, the AC was not working, and we appreciate you all sticking it out to talk Jason Voorhees with us. Again, a big tip of the hat to our producer, Avril Halley, who pulls all of these movies and finds these amazing experiences for us to share with all of you. Devin is out there engineering the board, making sure it sounds good. I mean, it's a live show. It's complicated, and it does sound so good. Also, just a reminder, if you're not watching Big Mouth, guess who's in it? Jason, June, and me. That's right, Big Mouth, Season 3, available on Netflix right now. And June Diane Raphael wrote a book. It's called Represent: A Woman's Guide to Running for Office and Changing the World. You can check out that book wherever books are sold or on Amazon. And you can also check out The Jane Club, which we recently talked about in a mini episode. It's June's social club that caters to creating an amazing community. Go to thejaneclub.com or follow them on Instagram. And as I've said previously, The Good Place is back on NBC. And guess what that means? It's the final season. So who's returning? Well, I don't know. Jason's been on that show. I've been on that show. I wonder what will happen. I guess you'll just have to tune in and watch to see how it all shakes out. And also, if you're not listening to Unspooled, check it out. We've had some really fun episodes recently. Last week we did The Godfather, and that's a great place to kind of start on the show. A classic film, and kind of get a taste of what we've been doing over at Unspooled. And a big thank you to everybody else who helps us out. Nate Kiley with his amazing research, and of course, Kyle Waldron with his amazingly cool Instagram art. Also, the ghost of Craig T. Nelson has been designing some really classic art for us right now. Like I always say, head on over to tpublic.com/store/HDTGM to check out our shirt, which is a very special Jason Mantzoukas, Jason Voorhees mashup shirt. It's available right now in the store. A big thanks to Cody Fisher, another one of our producers, and Josh Richmond, and everybody at Earwolf for making this show sound so good. Tune in next week for a mini episode and give me a call at 619-PAUL-ASK. That's 619-PAUL-ASK to have any questions about this film answered, or just to have a question about your own personal life answered. I take great care in making sure that I give you the best advice I can. So we'll see you next week for a mini episode. 619-PAUL-ASK. Bye for now.